Against this right back, Charlie, definitely.
People deluded, I'm back again.
Come on, Ian. Yes, I is. Yes, I am. People deluded, I'm back again. One love to Righty for the intro. People deluded. As I said, it's so good. I've got to say it twice. First things first, I hope you're all in good spirits. I hope you and your loved ones are all in good health. I hope with it being Tuesday, you lot having a great start to the week off the back of a great week previously and a solid weekend. As usual, if you're a regular, appreciate your support. Again, if you're new, hit the subscribe button because once you're locked in, you're here for life, innit? On that topic, people, please hit the like button, comment, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Don't rely on notifications. Make sure you're obviously following on all the socials. If you're not going to follow anything, make sure you're checking the YouTube community tab. You're following me on Instagram and Twitter, DeludedGuna04, so you never miss a beat. Shameless plug hasn't stopped yet because, again, make sure you're checking out my channel playlist where I will be talking about all the transfer news and everything. I'm not going to lie, as I always say, the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. Whether we sign Mudryk, Telemans, Benassia, Joao Felix, Vlahovic, Milinkovic-Savic, Danilo. There's been bare names, more names than I can count, and I'm probably missed Ferran Torres. And as I said, I'm probably missing names out. But enough waffling, enough rambling, people. Let's see exactly what's going on in today's transfer news. Any emerging news that comes out, you know your guys got you covered when it does. So anything I miss, we will circle back. First things first, I don't somewhat believe this because the Kroenkes are not going anywhere soon. You know, they finally, in my opinion, got what they've wanted. You know, the club, well, we're not in the Champions League, so we probably ain't got the healthiest of balance sheets, but they've installed their due, giving him a new role, Arteta a new deal, extend that to the women's team coach as well, Jonas. They're doing what they're doing, and it seems like it is well, it is in that regards. In Josh Kroenke, if his dad doesn't necessarily want to be hands-on, he's going to be hands-on. We all know you need to make Kroenke an offer he cannot refuse to consider selling Arsenal Football Club, but for what it's worth, the 10th richest man in the world would consider Arsenal bid, but not Manchester United. Surely you've got more luck buying Manchester United just because of what's been going on in the previous months surrounding them and potentially even Liverpool. But apparently, forgive me for mispronunciations, Mukesh Ambani, forgive me for the mispronunciation, is unlikely to launch a move for Manchester United because the club his family want is actually believed to be Arsenal. I mean, how long are you going to be waiting for? Anything can happen in football. The Athletic claim that he's being touted for a move into football very soon. No clue on his wealth, where he amassed it. I know he's a big cricket fan and he's involved in cricket. So again, I'd implore you all to search on Google and stuff. No clue what this guy does, his ethics, you know, his criticisms, his praise, etc., people. But as it's worth, as we know, Man United are looking to sell their club. Well, the Glazers are looking to sell their club, or it's the fans' club, but they're owners of it. Apparently, it's stated that the Ambani's family's son, Akash, is a huge Arsenal fan, and it's actually the Gunners that the Ambani family would want to purchase. Whether Kroenke and Co would sell Arsenal anytime soon remains to be seen. Their commitment to Arsenal seems to have strengthened ever since that rather ugly European Super League diabolical. And Super League is going to happen in it. The Champions League is basically that in all but name with the changes that are happening. We are going to see it. You know, they just put the feelers out, and in my opinion, just saw if society was ready for it. I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, but in society, if you put something out there initially, it's going to have backlash in it. You know, I'm pretty sure the first person that thought of designing a car, everyone was like, "Whoa, it's crazy. The world's going to end." What do you mean we got cars? We need it. You know, we've got horseback and things like that. So we'll have to see, but that ain't gone anywhere any soon. I'm sure many people have forgotten the name Daniel Ek. You know, he got his Spotify stock prices up and cut out. Apparently, Arsenal fans will at least enjoy the family's love for the Gunners. I mean, if you love it doesn't mean you're going to manage the club in the right way and things like that, but that might mean you put the money out. So the dream is free, the hustle is sold separately. He's 10th on the Forbes rich list. He's worth 90 billion, or the family's net worth is worth 90 billion. Their wealth comes from mostly Reliance Industries, which is the largest company in India as measured by revenue. And you look at the Indian economy; it's growing, and again, a lot of Indians are very big sports fans, and I believe that is an untapped market both for potential players and also marketability. So the 65-year-old or his family, we could get our foothold in India a bit more if it was to happen, people. So I don't believe it. I'm sure many of you don't, but of it. Joao Felix, we hear allegedly he's been offered to Arsenal and a bunch of other people. Joao Felix doesn't want to move from Madrid to Birmingham. Can you blame him? Sunny Madrid, and man are signing for Brum, and that you want man to tour the ball ring and things like that. Shout the Brummies. And prefers a transfer to a team of more substance and history. I mean, Villa got more Champions League trophies than us, but we've got more prestige. So come and join this thing. Reports in Spain claim as the Arsenal lead the fight to sign the Atletico star forward, he looks increasingly likely to leave Atletico Madrid and possibly next month. We're reportedly ahead of Chelsea and Manchester United in our pursuit. His agent Mendes wants him to join Villa because he's cozy with their agent and with their owners. Sorry, the agent would probably get a nice sell-on fee. And obviously, Unai Emery is not the worst for managers to play under. Aston Villa's a good club. You'll be a star man there, but I'm not sure the 23-year-old wants to be without European football, which Arsenal look on course for. Whether that's Europa League or Champions League remains to be seen. Completely off topic, people, but Conor Ben, you're an itty. You took drugs. Why are you breaking your silence and talking nonsense unless you're saying sorry? But staying with this, people. There is considerable interest in the Atletico Madrid and Portugal forward from Premier League clubs, with Arsenal reportedly leading the chase ahead of Chelsea and Manchester United. Now, the dream is free. The Arsenal is sold separately. It all depends what article you read. Some say Manchester United, Chelsea, or Arsenal are ahead. I would love Joao Felix. Can play out wide, could play up front, could play behind the striker. Obviously, at 23, he ties in with what we've got. There's potential resale value on top of being able to help us achieve things. There's plenty of carrot to join Chelsea and Manchester United, to put it nicely, have a great history with Portuguese players. So I'm sure Bruno Fernandes spent the last month talking up his chances of his fellow countrymen joining him at club level. It comes down to who's putting down the money. Whether teams have that money to commit to January, even a loan would be expensive, remains to be seen, people. And at this point, we've known this already. He looks extremely likely to leave. The Atletico Madrid CEO has spoken about it. Mendes is on the case. Arsenal have been offered him allegedly in 2 previous transfer windows. We've tried to get him, people. But apparently he isn't enticed by a move to Birmingham or, in fact, joining Aston Villa. Once again, Mendes has a strong relationship with the owners and they're prepared to back Emery. Arsenal have emerged as the Premier League's title contenders this season, say it again, are reportedly leading the way in the pursuit of Felix after the Atletico Madrid chief Miguel Angel Gil admitted last week he wants to leave them. Again, we've spoken about Joao Felix and Mudryk more times than I can count. Check out my YouTube playlist for extended thoughts on such people. So it is what it is. See, I said boring and main attractions. It says here in Birmingham. Sorry, man said boring. Shopper said, I told you, are well seasoned. Anyways, people, the World Cup is over, so now Felix can obviously start to think about his club career. PSG were allegedly interested. Bayern Munich made an offer in the summer. One would imagine PSG could get it done, really. And fair enough, you've got Mbappe for how long at PSG, I don't know. The same said for Neymar and potentially Lionel Messi. But are you ever going to be the star man? But you're going to be one of the stars, really. And you would, all of these teams play more attacking football than Atletico and the rest of it. He's contracted until 2026, people. It will take a considerable sum to prize him away. Some believe a loan could be more realistic, but because of even the fee surrounding his wages and the loan fee, if there's not a commitment to take him permanently, if I was buying him, what's the point? Because you might get a player that gets a new lease of life. He goes back to Atletico and it's Disneyland stuff or Disneyland Channel stuff, or he's sold to a rival for more money. And again, we want to develop players at Arsenal and I'm sure other clubs, but there has to be a reason for developing players. And I don't want to develop players for no reason. If Arsenal not going to benefit financially from selling them, obviously, if we're not going to, have them for the foreseeable future, what is the point? Obviously, in terms of forgetting all of that and just getting him on loan, getting a body in would be great, but contracted until 2026. In 2019, they spent 114 million. He isn't going to come cheap. Allegedly, he's unsettled in Spain and has been for some reason. And again, once again, the CEO of his current employer said he's the biggest investment the club has ever made. And I think he's at the highest level in terms of talent. I would love for him to continue, but that's not the player's idea. So we'll have to see how that one develops. So we've spoken about potential owners in Joao Felix. Once again, Arsenal and Chelsea have both been offered the 23-year-old in club record deals, people. He's been touted around, as we know, people. It's claimed that Chelsea and Arsenal, neither club is willing to pay 100 million, and it's business. He's not playing like someone that's worth 100 million for whatever reason. The coach, the system, whatever in it, talent's there, but naturally you want to kind of get a deal. And Atletico don't want to. They're gonna lose, but they don't want to lose too much of the investment they made. So it comes down to money. You don't put the P's down. It's a myth. Permanent deal seems impossible for Arsenal, people. Again, 100 million in January. Without addressing centre mid and out wide, without dealing with centre back or any other areas Arteta wants to deal with, without actually knowing if we're confirmed Champions League or Europa League or no European football. These are all factors. It's not set in stone. Arsenal are going to be in any competition. So my point to say that is to say this: do we have that commitment for Joao Felix? I don't know. Kroenkes are worth billions. It could happen if we want it to happen, but I just don't think we're going to get Joao Felix. But I'm happy to talk about it. We were previously linked with Ferran Torres, people, and once again, a German publication is speaking on a player that plays in Barcelona and is a Spanish international about the movements of two clubs in England. Football is universal, but the primary source of this info, the country or the land or the local media it comes from, makes you a bit pessimistic. He can play as a false nine. He can play out wide. Obviously, he's 22 years of age. He's played in the Premier League, so there's a lot to like about Ferran Torres. Whether Arsenal, AC Milan or Tottenham Hotspur, Spurs, will go in for him. I don't know. We need someone in it because, as you know, Jesus is injured right now. Why not, people? And it seemed the way he's playing, it looks like, to be honest, Manchester City played a blinder, selling him for 55 million, 47 million pounds, people. He's still only 22. So, yeah, we've been linked with him. We've been linked with Benacia. Again, people, I'll be doing a watch-along, not just for Argentina, Croatia live from 6:50. Before that, 1 p.m. UK time, we're going to obviously watch Arsenal against AC Milan. I want to bring Benacia back to the carpet. But he's another one going through contract stuff at his current employers. So maybe Arsenal are being used in that regards, people. But once again, allegedly, we're on the case where the 25-year-old Algerian international, former French youth international, and former Arsenal player, actually, in Ismail Benacia is concerned. Whether we'll put the money down is another thing. As you know, people, we've spoken about him before. He has said said better yet that he wants allegedly 4 million euros a year, which Arsenal could offer him more competitive wages. His contract expires in 2024, just like Rafael, just like Milinkovic-Savic. So a lot of clubs face the prospect of maybe getting them rid in January, but probably next summer is when you could look to get these guys maybe at a discounted rate, people. So we'll have to see what's going to happen in that regard. Apparently, Arsenal finally get in touch with Dusan Vlahovic's agent as transfer talks revive. This is probably leveraging the fact that Juventus he hasn't really set the world alight at Juventus. Juventus are going through RICO cases and things, and obviously Arsenal's need for a striker. Pardon me, I'm not too sure anybody believes in this, people. Arsenal tried to sign Vlahovic in the January transfer window, it should say, but the Juventus strikers reps were not interested in a move to North London. Speculative reports in Italy claim that Arsenal finally made contact with the reps of Dusan Vlahovic following Jesus' injury. As you know, we previously had our calls ignored, so that probably tells you that we're not going for it, people. But if we have scouted him, if Juventus do want him, if we did show a lot of intention to get him in January, and Arteta does want to have him, Jesus, and other options, then who wouldn't be up for it? We play Juventus on Saturday. I'm not too sure if Vlahovic will be involved because obviously he's been taking part in a World Cup campaign, a disappointing one for Serbia. So we'll have to monitor that one there very closely, people. But he will be at the Emirates, assuming he is there. Well, his team will be there on Saturday because that is I believe, our last kind of publicly known mid-pre-season game before, obviously, the Premier League restarts, starting with Arsenal versus West Ham. If we could get Vlahovic, definitely would make me a lot more comfortable going into, this period that we face without Jesus, going into a decisive period of the season, the second half of the season. And obviously, we've got Tottenham, Spurs, Tottenham, two teams, Spurs, Manchester United, Brighton away, informed Newcastle. There's a bag of tough teams to play. There is no easy games in the Premier League. I think this article is a case of getting 2 and 2 and making $1 million. But apparently Arsenal are one of many clubs to get in touch recently with Vlahovic's agent to discuss his potential availability. Discreet talks are alleged to have taken place during the World Cup, where, as you know, Serbia were disappointing people. Would have to see. But fundamentally, Juventus are still combating financial struggles off the field. The potential sale of the centre forward would go a long way in helping them clear some of their crippling debt. So I'm not too sure I believe it, but if you do, why not? He previously told the Telegraph, maybe my agent knows about Arsenal's offer, but I never talked to anyone about it. I had just one club in my mind because Juventus is Juventus. There's nothing else to say. And I now feel honored to be given this jersey. It's incredible every time I put it on. I definitely identify with their DNA. The Juventus personality coincides with my personality. What's that? Being frauds. When you come here, you never give up. You fight all the time. You make sacrifices. This is definitely what I was looking for. Well, you asked to fight. You deemed the fight for fight, dog. So do up that thing. In relation to Mudryk, Arsenal remain the leading side to sign Mudryk in January and are working on it, says Fabrizio Romano. They are in contact with people close to Mudryk. The feeling is that the fee could be a little less than 100 million euros. Once again, Arsenal make Mudryk a priority target despite the need to replace Gabriel Jesus. The Shakhtar Donetsk winger is determined to secure an 86 million move to the Gunners in January. What I would say to Mudryk, if you sign for us, stop them TikTok dances, bro. You see what happens to Lewandowski. He dances. He's a great player, Lewandowski, but he dances. And then when his team need him, he bottles it. I don't need any of that. You're giving free banter to the rivals. But as we know, and everyone and their dog knows, Arsenal have reportedly made the Shakhtar Donetsk winger their priority target in January, people. He is considered Arsenal's focus for the next month's transfer window. Allegedly, he's considered one of the hottest young prospects in Europe, people. So bring him if we've done our scouting. 10 goals in 18 appearances this season, people. Arsenal have reportedly held talks with both Shakhtar and Mudryk, with the winger claimed to be determined to secure the move, people. So we're going to see what's being said. He isn't happy about his price tag, as some of you previously know, people, because he previously said, I will not hide that I was very upset. The amount puts a barrier for my transition to the top championship, which I so dreamed of. I can't say my dream was killed, but wounded, that's for sure, people. So we're going to have to see what happens in the case of Mikhail Mudryk. Arsenal told privately Mudryk's asking price has doubled, but they are serious about a formal offer. So we'll have to see. I'm not too sure about doubling, and we know their director has said he'll cost a lot of money. Sources claim privately they'll entertain offers of 60 million euros. So that's about 50 people. So that makes sense. And he's continuously said he doesn't believe that Mudryk is that way away from the Grealishes, the Vinicius Juniors, the Mbappes. High praise, and he's got to deliver really and truly, generally in his career. He's 21. He's not going to be the finished article, but big praise. I can't begrudge them. They want to sell him to the highest bidder. What is this saying? Apparently, Arsenal have ditched Danilo talks, people. Really, we're tipped to be the favourites. Apparently, the Athletic have claimed that he is no longer a priority for Arsenal, with the Gunners changing their tune of transfer plans. I'm not too sure, because I still think we need a midfielder. And for David Ornstein says that, but Fabrizio Romano says we're still on it. We've also heard we're looking at Cunha. Once again, for the 55th time, check out my YouTube playlist, people, where there's a transfer news playlist where we've covered all of this and more. And no doubtly, by the time this video comes out, we'll cover more. We've already spoken about Joao Felix. So make of that what it is. Arsenal could be back in for Telemans, as Leicester are braced for Arsenal to make a final attempt to snap up Yuri Telemans next month before he becomes a free agent, people. Whether that happens is another thing people will have to see, but it's the last window they can make peas. Fabrizio has said there's no discussions ongoing between Arsenal and Reims for Balogun to be recalled in January. All parties expect Balogun to complete the season on loan at the French club. PSV's director Brands has said only 10 to 12 clubs can afford Cody Gakpo in January. Let's see if it will happen. It has to be PSV's record sale and also the right bid for Cody's plans. We still have no official bids. Let's see if some club will pay big money in January. So that the owner's telling you, well, the director's telling you, put the money down, you can have what you want. You don't put the money down, you can't have him, can you? Arsenal are prepared to use the January transfer window to help maintain their title challenge if an opportunity arises that the club deem right for the long term, with the Kroenke family wanting to back now sporting director Edu and manager Mikel Arteta. Fabrizio said, I've had Arsenal fans asking me for updates on Danilo, but there's no news as of now. Arsenal have been following him for a long time, but it's not a direct to advanced negotiation as things stand. There are also Italian and Spanish clubs tracking Danilo, so maybe there's something else. As for Yuri Telemans, he has been on Arsenal's list for months. He's still appreciated, but Telemans could leave in June as a free agent, so it depends on proposals he receives, people. So you're going to have to draw what you want in that. And obviously, we've spoken about Balogun, about Telemans, about Mudryk, etc., people. So I don't think there's anything else to expand on. I mean, I was just reading this for my own sake, people. But, you know, granted, Xhaka, our midfielder, is drawing criticisms in Switzerland, people. And some have called for his captaincy to be strict. Xhaka is a leader, someone who makes this team better. one of the most he's one of the most influential reporters in Switzerland. I realize what there is no longer an alternative to Xhaka. No one can hold a candle to him. He is a super figure. But for me, the role of a captain is not at all how Xhaka behaves on the pitch. People are fed up with this behavior. I think the Swiss FA should say, Granit, will give the ban to someone else and build a second strong person in the team. This would be intended as a demotion. It would relieve Xhaka. It'd be good for the great picture and for the group, kind of what happened at Arsenal, but he'd still be a leader. Apart from Shaqiri, Xhaka is the best footballer to have ever wear the national team jersey, especially in emotional games. He's always delivered. That sounds like a captain to me. I have the feeling that he can't please anyone, which is the story of his life for club and country, and that everyone is always waiting for his next mistake. That is very true. I'd rather have a strong Xhaka on a football field than someone who gives great interviews after the game. Trust me, Granit Xhaka is someone that you want if you're going to war. He's someone that if you get into trouble in a rave, you definitely want him by your side. Other people probably run off and say, oh, fam, I didn't know you was in a fight. Granit Xhaka will be, you get me? Xhaka is a leader. And, you know, to be honest, whoever is chatting nonsense about Granit, that's our captain on and off the field, with or without the armband. So yeah, big up Granit Xhaka. And obviously where the transfer news is, people, that wraps this up, people. Please hit the like button, comment your opinions during this premiere and also after. Again, appreciative of all the support you give our channels, people. Are very appreciative of that. Without you lot, I keep saying ours because it is our platforms. Make sure you're following on Twitch as well. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Most importantly, stay blessed, stay safe, and I'll see you lot again soon, people. On that note, people, deluded. I'm out. God bless.
So it's always just that active red light, defending. I think it's like